Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Flame Emperor episode number 487 based on novel. So let's start. In the array space, black flames flickered, and the ancient evil aura was finally brewed, and a terrifying coercion quietly awakened and spread like a peerless beast that had been dormant for thousands of years. When this coercion filled the air, the void inside the entire formation distorted, and the vast energy continuously impacted Xiao Yan's mind, like a dream. The black dots slowly wriggled, surrounded by an extremely condensed and huge aura, and after the smooth breath, it condensed into a handsome male figure under Xiao Yan's gaze. This figure was surrounded by wisps of black flames. His eerie eyes were full of greed and curiosity about this world. The black lines on his body contained a shocking feeling. Amazing volatility. After the breath, the black flames surged along the body, and actually outlined the terrible lines that surpassed the heaven and the earth. Those black runes covered his body like a gloomy brilliance. At this time, the latter stood lightly above the void. There is an extremely terrifying devouring power all over the body, as if under this power, all power becomes cowardly. Boom. At the same time, the dark shadows were condensed, but the inside of the space that had always been quiet was shattered, and the energy was radiating everywhere. The master of the holy flame. The black flame man's eyes like black holes glanced away at Xiao Yang, full of disdain and ridicule. This guy is the formation spirit condensed by the evil energy of the life-killing formation, and it is also where the formation is broken. Extraterritorial powerhouse, but now that you look like this, should I call you a spirit formation? Or is it a so-called extraterritorial half-evil god? The glazed flames fused with the 5 holy flames swelled all over Xiao Yang's body, and the sacred aura became stronger and stronger, as if a bright had seen a heinous devil and tried to suppress the latter with holy flame. You know, a lot. Unfortunately this time, you will be completely destroyed again. The shadow didn't seem surprised, and spoke slowly, and the voice was filled with a terrifying magic that everything was silent. Even among the evil races outside the realm, very few people know about the word evil god. Xiao Yang, who seems to be weak in front of him, actually knows such confidential information outside the realm, which is enough to show the power behind this guy and the control of the news channel, tyrannical. You are very strong, but compared with the real heretic god, there is still a lot of gap. Xiao Yang exerted his strength to the extreme, and a strong thirst for war was released from the palm of his hand. Xiao Yang also wanted to see if he could obliterate this half-evil energy clone now. Everything is under control, here is your final destination. There was a sinister smile on the corner of the black flame man's mouth, and he lightly exited. At the moment of his exit, the energy in the entire formation space began to hum, as if there was some kind of supreme evil force that wanted to destroy the world and spread out. That's not necessarily. And now you are just an energy clone. It's too small to underestimate the master of the holy flame. On Xiao Yang's footsteps, bursts of glazed brilliance suddenly dripped down like raindrops. The powerful aura that burst out from those sacred auras turned out to be accompanied by many forces of Xiao Yang, resisting this guy together. This deity is called Bloodstone Evil Venerable. The dull voice just fell, and immediately the endless black flame evil power around Bloodstone Evil Lord began to spread and toss, and wherever he went, the void shook. It's good to come. Try the soul fighting skills I just mastered. Great immortal technique, holy soul light chain. Looking at the sea of blood and black flames roaring from below, above Xiao Yang's head, the 7-story spiritual palace emerged together, like the supreme soul power that crossed the other side of the starry sky, instantly overflowing from the 7th-story spiritual palace, and in Xiao Yang under the subtle control of the half-step immortal ascension boundary, it turned into a dazzling silver brilliance chain. Now Xiao Yang's strength naturally does not require a specific time to study and learn fighting skills. Even if he is currently learning and using it, his power should not be underestimated. The brilliance was like a shuttle, and it turned into a mass of soul chains, carrying a touch of extremely strong power, which made the entire formation space tremble. Soul Guanghua chains clashed with the black flames of the Sea of Blood, and scenes of fiery and violent energy spread out from the center of the battle. Along the way, the void was broken, and even the always quiet Bloodstone Evil Venerable, his eyes were slightly startled. Why did you cultivate a secret that the center of the immortal realm did not pass on? Until this moment, a touch of unprecedented consternation and fear quietly permeated from Bloodstone Evil Venerable's heart. The precious fighting skills hidden in the center of the fairy world are extremely devastating to them. Then don't bother. The Great Thousand World is not a place where you filthy creatures can set foot. Get out. The glass-colored flames began to spin, and a touch of ancient sacred aura began to appear between this piece of heaven and earth. This great immortal-level soul-fighting skill was naturally obtained from the center of the immortal world. Although Xiao Yang's mastery was still shallow, the terrifying aura that surpassed the heavens and the earth was enough to completely crush a half-evil god's energy clone. What kind of power is this? Looking at the glazed holy flame on Xiao Yang's body, the bloodstone evil spirit was stirring up a terrifying wave in his heart. The chains of the soul light group are extremely sharp, gently infiltrating the sea of blood, spreading and attacking its body. What an interesting guy. But this time, you can't escape. Bloodstone Evil Venerable's energy clone collapsed instantly, and the space of the formation was split open like a realm. At the same time, a terrifying voice slowly resounded in Xiao Yang's heart. It seems that this extraterritorial attack is more terrifying than I thought. After solving the spirit of the formation, Xiao Yang's body was returning to the alchemy world wrapped by the life-killing formation. Xiao Yang. Seeing that Xiao Yang was the first to break through the shackles of the formation space, Hua Qianqian, who was pale, spoke first. Mingfeng, the matter has been exposed. What explanation do you have? Above Xiao Yang's body the colored glaze holy flame began to rotate, and after breathing smoothly, it turned into a lotus pedestal wrapped in 5 color flames. The three of Mingfeng walked away. My lord, I am afraid that the alchemy world is going to fail. You go. In an instant, seeing Xiao Yang approaching step, by Wang Yuan and the two spoke with solemn expressions. Damn, it's a little bit worse. Mingfeng's face was equally ugly, and he couldn't help lowering his head to look at the palm of his hand, something like a furnace. At this time, the whole body of this furnace, which is full of evil lines, has been filled in half with extremely terrifying energy, and the countless powerhouses in the entire alchemy world are at least 30% swallowed by its formation. But even so, it's not enough. The half-evil lord exerted the power of the evil on him, and he did not hesitate to spend such a huge formation. The purpose was naturally to fill the furnace in Mingfeng's hands. Once the mission fails, I am afraid Mingfeng will know what kind of maddening torture awaits him. Little beast, you're really haunted. Dedicated to destroying my good deed. On the gloomy face, there were bursts of hatred, twisted and ugly, and a drop of mysterious liquid suddenly poured out from the palm of Mingfeng's hand. Just relying on an energy clone and some evil god tokens, it seems that it is too underestimated to completely suppress the entire alchemy world and these outsiders. On the 5-color flame lotus platform, an intensifying astonishing force continued to gather, vaguely making people feel dizzy, but when Xiao Yang saw the object in Mingfeng's hands, there was a surprise. Life-killing array, swallow. Mingfeng was also a decisive person, and instantly took out the soul divine source that Xiao Yang handed over to him, and immediately confronted him with the palm of his hand. The furnace cauldron condensed by the life-killing array is extremely evil. If it is combined with a drop of soul divine source, even Xiao Yang can only avoid the edge for a while. The seemingly illusory soul source was thrown into the cauldron condensed by Mingfeng, but the whole world did not have any trouble. What's the matter? After the rest, Mingfeng just had a gloomy face, and stared at Xiao Yang with gnashing teeth. Those fierce eyes seemed to want to eat Xiao Yang raw. I wanted to catch a big fish, it's a pity. The 5-color lotus platform began to disperse, and a monstrous sacred arrogance slowly spread out. The terrifying fluctuation that destroyed the sky and the earth turned out to be uncomfortable for countless figures. The hot and sacred aura made all the evil thoughts in their bodies broken. What a horrible guy. Now we are saved. Lord Xiao Yu, please kill the evil. Seeing Xiao Yang's mighty power, the countless powerhouses who were threatened by the coercion of the life-killing formation actually fell to their knees on the ground, above the void, and spoke with trembling voices, extremely pious. Life-killing array. Destroy me. It seemed that there was no way to retreat, and a crazy, almost morbid smile suddenly emerged from the corner of Mingfeng's mouth. In an instant, the cauldron on the palm of his hand was lightly crushed by it, turning into countless waves of evil energy, which spread. Boom. Originally, the alchemy world was suppressed and bound by the life-killing formation, and the strength of many strong people was limited. Now, Mingfeng has completely detonated the evil formation, and the void of the whole alchemy world has been shaken and broken to varying degrees, even deep one by one. The black hole whirlpool, as if crawling from half of hell, crawls out. This guy is crazy. Detonate the formation, and you will die. Hua Qianqian looked at Mingfeng's act like this, and there was a tinge of blue on her pretty face. Ha ha ha. If you want to die, then die together. In the face of death, Mingfeng seemed to be at ease, but he laughed coldly, and the laughter was gloomy and piercing, causing one to chill. 5 flames to punish evil. 5 flames, wheel. Finally, the lotus pedestal under Xiao Yang's feet shattered, turning into 5 flame beams of different colors and energies, and blasted away viciously towards the formation hub. 5 kinds of energies, 5 holy flames, just spread, and suddenly detonated an unprecedented ancient sacred aura in the entire void, and the evil needle that was detonated was buzzing for a while. The formation has been destroyed by me, and everyone who is in the formation now must die. Lord Evil God, this time, we won. Just after Ming Feng finished speaking, the large and small black flames on the body shook, and it turned out that his entire body, life breath, etc. were all eaten away in an instant, and they were thrown into the strange black hole in the void together. The 3 evil monsters, including Ming Feng, completely disappeared here in the form of self-destruction, but on the ground of the Dan realm in the distance, a black crack suddenly appeared and moved quickly. Above the black cracks, there are countless black flames. The flames are outlined into some kind of complex and mysterious evil patterns, and the eerie power that devours everything spreads. Where the black flame cracks spread, no matter what kind of powerful creature or the sturdy void, they have completely disappeared from the world and submerged in their belly. At this moment, the nerves in the hearts of countless powerhouses were tense, and the sound of the black flame cracking and biting into the void was as if the of death was harvesting his life, which was particularly harsh. With their current strength, once they are caught up by them, I am afraid they will fall here in an instant. Xiao Yang, what are we doing now? Hua Qianqian, the devil boy of thorns, including several high-level officials of the alchemy temple, looked at Xiao Yang with a serious face, waiting for Xiao Yang's next step. The black flame crack is like a black hole vortex. Once it is touched, the body and spirit will be destroyed. Even some reincarnation-level powerhouses cannot completely resist the evil force. Up to now, it seems that they can only pin all their hopes on Xiao Yang. On the body. Who? Up to now, I can only fight. Everyone, give me the remaining energy in your body. Xiao Yang's body slowly rose to the highest point of the formation, looking at the unbreakable black flame cage barrier, looking at the black flame cracks that spread like a death in the distance, his eyes closed gently, facing the bottom, surviving the strong speak. The power of reincarnation, Earth attribute power. Hundreds of thousands of people roared at the same time, and groups of pure light, large or small, poured out of these powerhouses and gathered towards the sky. These powers are the purest reincarnation power in their bodies. When such a huge power is combined, the power can be learned from the world. Xiao Yang is based on the sky, and the steady stream of soul power constantly neutralizes and suppresses the restlessness generated by the fusion of countless forces. In the blink of an eye, a scorching sun with 100 meters of energy like the sun was quietly suspended in the sky, and Xiao Yang stood gently beside him, like a true ruler. Boom! Xiao Yang gritted his teeth, and all the soul power in his body burst out almost instantly. Immediately, the scorching sun fell from the sky like a meteor and swept away at the black flame crack that devoured everything. For a time, the ground shook, the sky was dark and the sky was dark, as if all the energy in the entire pill realm was instantly stagnant and solidified. The next moment a circle of colorful energy ripples, as if a heart suddenly shrank, and then rippled across the entire Dan world. The colorful energy scattered and exploded, and the coercion generated along the way that surpassed the heavens and the earth turned out to be the killing array of creatures in the detonated state, completely collapsed and destroyed here. We are not dead. Xiao Yu Lord Divine Power, watching the formation above the sky shattered, there is a strong grief in the eyes of countless strong men, and the feeling of the rest of the life after the catastrophe seems to be clearer than any moment. The sound of the shattering formation sounded in my ears, and immediately the life-destroying formation shattered a little bit. The evil forces were completely lost here, and the breath of nature was returning, but at this time, a black shadow stood on the horizon. Brow wrinkled. His line of sight, through this huge alchemy world, looked at the 3-day void in the outer fairy world. Where there are evil black groups like tarsal moths, dormant. Bang bang bang. When the slaughtering formation was broken, the figures of some strong people in the crowd also exploded together, and the most representative of them was a group of people headed by Zuna. Xiao Yang, are you all right? Just after the crisis was lifted, countless figures sat down with palpitations. Hua Qianqian and the Thorns Demon Boy and others took the lead to swept the sky and asked Xiao Yang. Just now Xiao Yang merged and controlled such a huge power, and the soul power required was naturally a lot. Now everyone is a comrade in arms on the same boat, and naturally they will not do all kinds of self-destructive things. I'm afraid it's not that simple. The trace of Zunna's self-destruction naturally fell into Xiao Yang's line of sight for the first time. At this time, Xiao Yang looked at some disappearing figures in the crowd, and the boundless black air mass in the distance, and his face was dignified. Opened his mouth. As the formation was broken, Zunna and other strong men also exploded together. However, judging from Xiao Yang's keen sense of smell, it seems that a large part of the people who exploded were evil people, and some others were an energy clone. Very strange. When did Zunna condense the energy clone? Why is there the existence of foreign evil races among the powerhouses from the Great Thousand Worlds who came to watch the Alchemy Pill Society? Look, what is that? Just when everyone's hearts were full of doubts, the grey-robed old man in the alchemy sanctuary raised his finger and pointed to the upper three-day void outside the pill realm in the distance, his voice trembling. The void in the distance is twisted, and the viscous magic energy is entangled in it, and it turns out to form a huge and complex formation, which completely seals all the retreats in the entire immortal world for 3 days like an enchantment. Extraterritorial evil race. Looking up, the grey power appeared in the line of sight. It was almost a huge lineup of thousands, and the huge evil shadows as large as ants really made the hearts of these people who had just returned from the gate of the Ghost Gate chilled. Today's immortal realm seems to have been completely eroded by foreign evil races. Immortal realm is in trouble. Xiao Yang shook his head helplessly, and there was obviously a rare mood swing in his voice. How can such a large area and large-scale foreign evil race escape the eyes of Dacian world and enter the fairy world? And judging from the actions of the original Mingfeng 3 people, I am afraid this is a long-planned conspiracy. A conspiracy against the fairy world. Sir, the 3 White Kings, including Lord Mingfeng, no longer have any breath of life, and they seem to have fallen. In the distance, the head of the evil army floating in the void of the last 3 days, the red demonic energy is particularly conspicuous. At this time, beside the throne, a soldier quietly walked out from behind, facing the woman sitting on the throne. Respectfully. It's really just as Lord Bloodstone Xiezun said, these 3 guys are a complete waste. What a waste of the title of White King rank. The woman sitting cross-legged on the throne sneered, as if not surprised. The beautiful eyes nodded and gently swept away at the pill realm of the alchemy temple. Now many strong people in the alchemy temple's alchemy world are so gently brushed by this evil figure, and suddenly there is a sense of absent-mindedness conveyed, the invisible pressure, and even make the some weak people died in an instant, turning into bursts of blood mist. Red King rank. Among this extraterritorial evil clan, why are there so many of the 3 kings, black, white and red, and even the evil gods? What's wrong with this? Xiao Yang's expression was extremely solemn, and the fluctuations emanating from the red-robed woman in front of him were definitely comparable to the peerless powerhouses of the quadruple reincarnation class of human being. Even if they gather many strong men in the alchemy world at this time, I am afraid they may not be able to kill the latter, not to mention the tens of thousands of evil troops behind this woman. White King, Netherworld Wolf General, send you an army of 1,000 people to intercept and suppress everyone in the Dan world, so as not to cause more troubles. After suppressing you, everything follows my instructions. White King, Sol Shaw, strengthen and seal the Great Realm, absolutely cannot let the other 6 realms discover any movement in the immortal realm. Otherwise, once the barrier is broken, this mission will fail. You should know the consequences. As the first enchanting woman in a red robe, she gently sucked her tongue, and then opened her mouth. Her voice seemed to be filled with turbid air, making people shudder. Yes, my lord. This time, waiting for the adults to obtain that thing, the whole immortal world will be in our bag for 3 days. The faint voice sounded, and the place returned to calm immediately, but looking at her appearance, it seemed that the mission of this woman of the Red King rank was only to maintain the enchantment of the fairy world and not be discovered by outsiders. Boom. At the same time, in the void of the last 3 days, a path of scarlet blood roared up, and it turned out to be led by an evil powerhouse with a wolf-headed body, whistling towards the crowd. Quasi-triple reincarnation rank. The Thorn Demon Boy's eyes shrank slightly, looking at the 1,000 evil figures coming towards him. We can kill him. In the beautiful face of Hua Chanxian, there is a calm righteousness that emerges. Kill him. And then that Red King rank sent a more powerful enemy, waiting for us. After all, it's just a dead end. At this time, the high-ranking grey-clothed old man in the medicine hall suddenly came to Xiao Yang and the others. Senior, is this? Hearing the voice of the grey-clothed old man, the madness and fiery in Xiao Yang's eyes dimmed slightly. He was right, even if they worked together to obliterate it, what about the extraterritorial army in front of him, or even the 4th-level Red King? Xiao Yuzhu, There is a road leading to Moon God Palace in the Pill Realm. Now, I am afraid I can only. The grey-clothed old man looked at Xiao Yang with shame. Senior, send me away. This time, I will protect the fairy world and be safe. There is a master of labor Xiao Yu. Senior, don't worry, this fairyland-like realm, even if I bet my life, I will not let it be destroyed under my eyes. Outside the realm, we will never die. This time, let you all see again, what is the master of holy flames. The faint voice fell, and immediately everyone began to act. Do it stop them. By time for Lord Xiao Yang, Master Xiao Yu, Moon God Palace, Yarokai Fairyland, and Huashan Palace are closely related to a treasure in the center of Fairy World, and we will rely on you next. As soon as the words fell, the old man in grey gushed out with a mouthful of blood, and then a group of emerald green flames led Xiao Yang into a dark passage that had been sealed for a long time, and left here. Come on. Countless powerhouses fought ***** battles together, and together they bought so little precious time for Xiao Yang. The scene was once appalling. Repression. It's a pity that someone ran away. Forget it, anyway, there are two evil gods, the Dark Demon and the Bloodstone Evil Lord, in the center of the Fairyland. Immortal World, the last 3 days, the habitat of the Moon God Palace. There are pure moonlight everywhere, dignified mountain courtyards, palaces and mansions emerging one after another. At this time, it seems very quiet here. The huge Moon God Palace mansion is like a still picture, and there is no trace of anyone walking. The moonlight is bright and picturesque, and the moon entrenched high in the sky is strangely flooded with blood at this time, which seems to indicate something. With a sound, Xiao Yang's body instantly left the Pill Realm and poured into the Moon God Palace. The Pill World, the alchemy sanctuary, has completely fallen. As soon as Xiao Yang appeared here, he looked around vigilantly and muttered to himself. Since before their competition, Xiao Yi and Princess Qianqin went to inquire about the information, but now Zuna has no idea what he is saying, and the attack from outside the domain makes Xiao Yang, who has always been calm, restless in his heart. Who? Come out. Xiao Yang inspected the area and found that there was no trouble in the area where he had set foot. Just when he was about to leave to look for the palace master of the Moon God Palace, he heard a rustling voice behind the house, and said sternly, "Wu, don't kill me, do not kill me. Rabbit blood is not good at all." Xiao Yang's body was surging, and he came to the back of the house in an instant. His eyes narrowed, but he saw a white fluffy jade rabbit with the length of an arm, shrinking into a ball tremblingly, and uttering human words. The power of evil. Purge me. Xiao Yang squatted down to take a look, and found that there was a wisp of dark devilish energy on the jade rabbit, which was constantly devouring the latter's vitality. Immediately, he raised his palm, and the sacred flame gushed out and wrapped around the body of the jade rabbit, instantly purifying the evil devil energy and removing it. Go! Then Xiao Yang called out a soft glazed flame, wrapping the scarred jade rabbit. You saved me. Feeling the crisis contact, Xiao Yutu just opened her eyes and stared at Xiao Yang. Moon God Palace, what's going on now? Xiao Yang nodded, and then asked in a deep voice. There's no time, come with me. Little Jade Rabbit hopped and ran towards the courtyard mansion in the deep mountain. Looking at his appearance, he was probably worried. Moon God Palace, above the main hall square of Moon God Palace. At this time, the blood flowed into rivers of joy here, and each of the beautiful figures fell weakly into the pool of blood. The bright red blood overflowed along the cracks above the square, eroding the entire sacred and solemn square to the extreme. Lord Moon God Palace, why do you do such useless work? There are 175 disciples in the Moon God Palace, and now there are only 2 of your beloved disciples left. Why are you insisting? Hand over the key and everything will be resolved quietly. At this time, on the square, a man with white hair, surrounded by layers of stench and demonic energy, was using an extremely evil tone to speak to the shadow living in the Moon God Temple. You are mean. You are an uncompromising villain. Hypocrite. Hurry up and let me go, or... At this time on the square, one of the 2 shadows bound by the magic glow turned out to be eloquent and cursing at this evil figure. This girl seems to be named Yuechi, and she also has the Moon God pattern on her body. It seems that these last 2 girls seem to be related to the Moon God that your Moon God Palace has inherited from generation to generation. It's really ridiculous. In the First World War, the Moon God Palace was weak, and even the inheritance of the Moon God did not appear. This time, I am afraid it will be the same ending. Lord Moon God Palace, I didn't say I didn't give you a chance. I count to 3. If you don't see the key, you know the consequences. The white-haired phantom snorted coldly, and the intent to kill was particularly obvious. In an instant, a helpless sigh came out of the moon god temple, which was filled with countless restrictions. The voice was faint, and it turned out to be quite a shocking and terrifying fluctuation. The moon god palace was established by the moon god, but since its establishment, none of the disciples has been able to spy on the so-called moon god's power, which has made countless generations of moon god palace's palace masters remorse. Junior sister, teacher. The body of the senior sister of the moon god palace, wearing a bamboo hat, trembled, looking at the pile of corpses piled up like a hill in front of her. A ray of moon imprint on her eyebrows actually echoed with the coquettish moon above the sky, as if she was mobilizing some people. Ancient power. 1, 2, 3. Crack. The palm of his hand rolled, and the eloquent little guy in front of him instantly separated his forehead from his small body. The blood dripped uncontrollably, and the vitality disappeared rapidly. I am afraid that ordinary people will also have bad news when they see the shocking method of killing. A heart-piercing roar poured out from Yuruyu's mouth. His heart sank, and the moon mark between his eyebrows became more and more shining, and there was a faint trace of breaking through all the shackles. I really don't cry without seeing the coffin. All the disciples of the moon god palace have completely fallen from your generation. The palace master of the moon god palace is really cruel. The white-haired man threw Yu Qi's body aside at will, and then walked slowly towards Yu. Yu Qi is dead. Died. My mind was buzzing, and suddenly, on the head of Yu Qi, who had no life breath, a ray of moon imprint actually bloomed with a power of the same temperature as Yu's eyebrows. Echo each other. The two half-moon marks suddenly merged together, and the full moon mark quietly surged from the center of Yu's eyebrows, and a lightning storm flew down directly above the strange moon in the sky. Yu Qi died. I want you to be buried with her. Moon god sword. Yuru's breath soared, and she broke free from the shackles of demonic energy in an instant. Her eyes turned red, and a snow-capped divine sword gushed out from her palm. The 16th ranked moon god sword on the human world artifact list. Inheritance of the moon god. I'm afraid it's all your fault. Looking at Yu, whose murderous aura was increasing in front of her, the white-haired ghost's body was attacked and retreated again and again, and for a while, she roared resentfully towards the moon temple. The moon is on top. This time I finally lived up to the high hopes of my ancestors. The inheritance of the moon god has been revealed, and the old man can rest assured to atone for his sins. Disciples, I'm sorry for you. The moon god palace master stepped out of the moon god temple step by step, surrounded by countless ancient moon marks, and the power on the entire body actually collapsed little by little. Are you crazy? Seeing such a scene of the palace master of the moon god palace, the white-haired shadow finally filled with fear. The inheritance of the moon god palace is originally a combination of two half-moon marks and a full moon. The seniors have never solved such a mystery in their entire lives. Yueru is a talented girl. With what I have learned all my life, killing people outside the realm and spying on the mansion of the gods will not be a problem. Girl, all this is too cruel. Let's get rid of this rule from your generation. Moon god. Sacrifice. A faint voice sounded, and the moon hanging above the sky disappeared instantly. At the same time, a bright moon suddenly rose from the back of the palace master of the moon god palace. Above the bright moon was a beautiful woman with bright eyes and bright teeth. The woman just appeared, all the expressions of power in the entire moon god palace became quiet, and even behind a woman, there seemed to be 3,000 worlds reflected in total, which seemed sacred and solemn. The woman's words and deeds all prove the identity of the latter. Luna. According to legend, the founder of the moon, the real mansion of the fairyland? No. In this world, it is impossible to have a fighting powerhouse. The white-haired phantom trembled all over, and even the evil power that was as high as the 4th reincarnation level in his body actually solidified at this time. It seems that in front of this beautiful woman with bright eyes and white teeth, all power is slightly pale. Moon god seal. The goal of the goddess woman does not seem to be the white-haired ghost. She sits cross-legged on the moon wheel, and her body is Yang Ting, and her whole body contains a touch of ancient aura that surpasses the great world. She gently stretches out her jade hand towards the moon. The palace master of the Jingu Palace probed the back of his head. A ball of light as bright as the moon slowly appeared in his hands, and in an instant, the body of the palace master of the moon god palace turned into a pool of brilliance, completely dissipating the world. The palace master of the moon god palace, who was as tyrannical as the half-step five-fold reincarnation level, passed away like this. Girl, this is your home. After doing all of this, the woman in the divine palace was beside Yueru, who was in a state of madness. With a push of her palm, the power of the source poured into the latter's body without a trace, continuously pouring into the latter's skin and bones. Among Shenlu, I'm waiting for you. I believe you will come one day sooner or later. As soon as the words fell, the goddess woman disappeared instantly, but the moon wheel did not disappear. Instead, it stayed behind Yueru forever like a guardian moon wheel. The woman in the divine residence had just disappeared, and the pressure on the white-haired phantom was greatly reduced, and countless cold sweats and fears permeated from her heart, which persisted for a long time. God's mansion. Battle God. This is absolutely impossible. How can there be a god's residence in a mere immortal world? Until this moment, the white-haired ghost hummed loudly in his mind, and a daze poured into his heart. In the outside world, there are countless strong people, but no one has the qualification and ability to step into the god of war. As for the specific reasons, even they do not know. In the same way, there are countless arrogant sons in the great thousand world, who have cultivated for a lifetime, but in the end they will not be able to step into the realm of fighting gods. But now, in the Moon God Palace, he actually witnessed the woman who looked like a god's mansion, transferring all the origins of the Moon God Palace Palace Master into Yu's body. The shock was incomparable. Then, it's time for your death. The white-haired ghost suppressed the fear in his body, the demonic energy around his body swelled, and the fourfold reincarnation demonic energy surged. Crack. While Yueru hadn't absorbed that huge source of power, the white-haired ghost raised the palm of his hand, and a monstrous devil hand covered with countless scarlet devil lines blasted away at the moon god mark on his forehead. The white-haired ghost attack just waved. A world of flames intertwined with glass-colored flames burst out, actually intercepting his own attack. In an instant, the white-haired demon shadow looked around vigilantly. The one who took your dog's life. Xiao Yang's body came here in an instant, looking at Yu, who was holding her head trembling. After a group of light with enormous power hung above her head, she immediately roared at the white-haired ghost. Xiao Yang, you're not dead. Looking at the person in front of him, the white-haired ghost suddenly said. Xiao Yang, he must be killed. He is the strongest servant by the demon of darkness. Yueru regained some sanity, controlled the sacred moon wheel behind her, and bit her silver teeth, as if she was trying to suppress something. The strength of the peak of the quadruple reincarnation. Xiao Yang's heart was dignified for a while. Such a strong opponent is not easy to deal with, but just turned his forehead, he saw those lunar temple disciples who died tragically. The 7 orifices are bleeding, the flesh is blurred, and the method of death is particularly tragic, which is outrageous. Kill him. Kill him. Kill him. Seeing that Xiao Yang didn't make a move, Yu's eyes suddenly burst into countless silver moonlights, and then, using Xiao Yang's body, Zaidu saw the mountains of corpses piled up in front of her. This look is extraordinarily clear. Above the pile of corpses are all the senior and junior sisters from the past. They have been in the Moon God Palace for a long time, and they are several times more arrogant than themselves in terms of qualifications and strength. However, because of the Moon God's mark, they not only did not treat themselves differently. Instead, treat yourself like a biological sister, with meticulous care. But now, because of the imprint of the Moon God, he actually killed everyone in the entire Moon God Palace, and a trace of self-blame poured into his heart. Her heart beat violently and powerfully, and then Yurume's eyes suddenly lost all brilliance, and the strength of her body began to skyrocket and violently. Even that power, from the beginning of the reincarnation level, began to spread towards the first layer and the second layer little by little. Yueru, calm down. Xiao Yang hurriedly used the power of holy flame to try to shelter this girl, but to no avail. It seemed that the fire of his holy flame was easily squeezed out by the moon wheel behind Yueru. Dance under the moon god's sword. The brilliance of the moon god, cut it off. With a cold hum, filled with too much pain and weakness, the divine weapon was raised, and the monstrous moonlight slanted down from its blade like a waterfall. Damn, I can't move. What kind of power is this? Could it be that in this world, there really exists a divine mansion? The white-haired phantom stared at Yueru, who was out of control, and a touch of fear emerged spontaneously. Boom. The sword rises and falls, and the white-haired phantom is as arrogant as the 4-layered reincarnation level peak strength, like an ant, easily destroyed under the moon god sword, both physically and mentally, all in the blink of an eye. Guru, what kind of power is this? Xiao Yang didn't catch up with the sacrifice scene just now, so he didn't know that the goddess woman was extracting power, but just watched the extremely difficult foreign evil clan powerhouse, so easily killed by Yueru, for a while. Scalp tingling. Teacher, senior sister, junior sister. Dead, all dead. Then what's on my face, left alone in the world, greedy for this piece of red dust? After solving the white-haired ghost, Yuaru was still out of control. The divine weapon quietly fell to the ground, and the corners of her mouth murmured. Yuaru, you wake up. Xiao Yang suddenly stretched out his hands to wrap his arms around Yuaru's jade arm, roaring coldly, trying to stop this guy from looking like he is now. Xiao Yang. Am I very incompetent? I can't even protect my own sisters and teachers. Tears flowed uncontrollably on his cheeks, and his voice trembled, like a weak and incompetent little girl. They're not dead. They've turned into stars. They're watching you and protecting you. Look. As Xiao Yang spoke, the holy flame surged, instantly burning up the many corpses in front of him, and finally turned into white mist, rising from the ground facing the dim starry sky. These corpses have no life. Unless the angels of the kingdom of angels take action, there is no chance of resurrection, and in order not to let Yuaru keep tortured, Xiao Yang can only do it as a last resort. In an instant, Yuaru raised her head and looked at the slightly familiar auras in the sky. A mouthful of silver blood sprayed out from the corner of her mouth, and then the mark of the moon god between her eyebrows, including the moon wheel behind her, bloomed with an extremely dazzling brilliance. These powers should be used sparingly. After resting, Yuaru's state recovered a little. Xiao Yang looked at the latter with some distress, and shook his head. Let's go. The next step is the flower palace. Yuaru's breath gradually intensified after breathing smoothly. She poured into the hall and took out a sealed jade box. This jade box. This is related to the safety of the entire immortal world. According to the teacher, this is the key to unlocking something. Yuaru gently took it back into her arms, and then smiled sweetly at Xiao Yang. Let's go. Xiao Yang swept away the doubts in his heart and looked at the incomparably deep void in front of him. I just don't know why, something extremely perfect hidden in Xiao Yang's body actually released a wave of homology when it came into contact with the jade box. Only Xiao Yang himself knew that the source of the fluctuation just now came from some kind of divine item in his body. Fire pearl. It is said that the place where the 5 spirit beads started together. It is Paradise Lost, the paradise of God. After Xiao Yang and Yuaru simply dealt with the follow-up of Moon God Palace, they disappeared into the void together and rushed towards Hua God Palace. The most urgent task is to determine the safety of the 2 great powers of Yarokai Wonderland and Huashan Palace, and to find the other 2 keys in their hands. Xiao Yang. During this time of separation, Along the way, with Xiao Yang's constant unraveling, Yuaru finally let go, and even the aura and strength in her body gradually increased. Yuaru was in a good mood, and immediately pouted her lips and put her hands together. Behind him, he stared at Xiao Yang with blushing faces. After all, this time, it was the first time they met in the immortal realm, although they had already met in the Jade Lake Tianqi and the Pill realm. Well, it's okay. Listening to Yuaru's question, Yi Xiao Yang's disposition was also a big head. When they separated from the Shenling continent, Yuaru was brought into the immortal realm by the powerhouses of the Moon God Palace, while Xiao Yang was naturally running around in the ghost realm and the demon realm. It's just that Xiao Yang knows that the hardships he has experienced in his faint years are probably not what the owner of the Moon God mark like Yuaru can imagine. Father, Just after asking, the 2 were silent for a while, and Yuaru asked with a blink of an eye. His good. The Shenling continent and the entire Dudi Sifang continent have been unified, and it is called the Endless Fire Territory. If you have time, you can go back and sit down. Xiao Yang was still unable to say that sentence after all. After all, although I owe more or less to Yuaru in my heart, Xiao Yang's responsibility does not allow Xiao Yang to do this. Whether it's the 3 mistresses in the Endless Fire Territory, or Yuaru in front of you. Well, it's a word. No matter what the future holds, I will stand on the side of the Endless Fire Territory. As if it was because of the Moon God's imprint and other things just now, at this time, Yuaru had endless mystery on her body. She vaguely knew something, and immediately grinned and said to Xiao Yang. Hearing this, Xiao Yang was inexplicable for a while, but because Yuaru had just happened, he didn't pay attention to it. At this time, his heart was all about the safety of Zuna and the real conspiracy of the evil clan outside the realm. Be careful, the front is the entrance to the Flower God Palace. Now that the 3 holy places in the immortal realm have been attacked by foreign evil races at the same time, this is probably a premeditated plan. The Moon God Palace, the Jade Lake Wonderland, the Flower God Palace, and the masters of the 3 holy places each control a secret key to the entire Fairyland. The 3 secret keys have been gathered, and the treasures that have been hidden for countless years in the Fairyland have just been opened. There was a rare bitterness in Yuaru's heart, but she hurriedly changed the subject after she took a rest. A shocking message quietly poured out of Yuaru's mouth. 16. Then 4 people leave, and there are only 12 people. Hopefully nothing happens. Xiao Yan was at a loss for a while. Before the combination, the Bloodstone Evil God, the 10 sinister coffins, and the 3 forces that planted the curse of darkness on him, vaguely felt a sense of imminent disaster. This immortal world center is the strongest place to manage the entire immortal world. The number of strong people is so rare. The central area of the immortal realm is already scarce, and it is reasonable that the number of strong people in the immortal realm center is scarce, and because there are fewer disputes in the immortal realm, the palace masters and the others just left the center and came to the last 3 days to open a sect. Yueru saw Xiao Yang's concerns at a glance, and gently opened her mouth to explain her concerns. I see. Hearing these words, Xiao Yang nodded solemnly. Teacher is a half-step 5-layered reincarnation rank. Our Lady of Yarokai has reached the 5th-layered reincarnation rank. The Master of Huashan Palace has reached the peak of the 5th-layered reincarnation. As for the center of the Fairyland, it is an existence that surpasses the entire Fairyland. According to the teacher, it is said that the strength of its world master has already reached the realm of penetrating the profound and subtle. Seemingly aware of Xiao Yang's worry, Yueru said. If that's the case, that's fine. Xiao Yang shook his head. He had been fighting against evil races from outside the realm all the year round. Only now did he understand the evil and despicable methods of this group. To be able to attack the center of the immortal world with such great fanfare, the comers are not good. And just from the current known combat power, countless evil monsters, several white kings, a red king, and 2 half-evil gods, although they are not enough to endanger the entire Fairyland, but Xiao Yang's intuition tells himself that this trip is probably more bad luck. The export has arrived. Go. The faint voice sounded, and the dazzling energy suddenly poured out from the 2 of them, instantly covering their bodies, crossing the entrance and exit, and left the passage. They had just left the passage and entered the area of the Flower God Palace, but the scene in front of them deeply shocked them. The thick demonic energy pervades the sea of flowers, covering the entire world. Only the center of the demonic energy ocean, a few ancient temples that have never been moved, have not been eroded by it. Under the pressure of this terrifying breath, the reincarnation power in the 2 people's bodies became much slower. There are definitely some tyrannical evil spirits that can threaten the lives of the 2 of them in the sea of demons. There are evil things hidden in the sea of magic. There are too many. After Xiao Yang glanced at it, he said solemnly, in such a turbulent sea of demons, there are countless hidden monsters. If they are easily exposed, once they are found and besieged, I am afraid that they will be overwhelmed by the strength of the 2 of them. Once they fall into the hands of the devil, the consequences will be unimaginable. Go this way. Suddenly, Yueru had an idea, as if she remembered a certain path that leads directly to the main hall. The 2 of them quietly crossed the invasion of the Sea of Devils. Under the leadership of Yueru, they disappeared from a dark corner of the huge flower world in front of them. The trail swept away to its heartland. At the same time, in the sea of flowers in the ancient palace at the top of the Huashan Palace, there were suffocating tides of energy, as if there was some great battle that was going on slowly. A battle of that level is quite a terrifying aura. This video will end here.